Hello and welcome everybody to Illuminate, Navigate, Radiate, a journey of emotional resilience. I'm your host Brandon, and I'm glad to have you listening in today. Today is our first Friday that we are dropping our February series, which this month we are going to be focusing on the 3 words of the title of the project. So, Illuminate, Navigate, Radiate are going to be our focus on Fridays this month. And starting off with Illuminate today. And to me, that's a really big one, an important one, as that kind of starts our journey to recovery, to growth, to self-awareness. It is really vital in that point in life where we want to get out of the darkness that we find ourselves in, whether that's through addiction, depression, anxiety, different life of events, that could cause grief or pain or anguish, just whatever it may be that is keeping us in our darkness. To illuminate, to have that illumination in your life, to shed light on that, and to kind of take those first steps towards a happier life, towards a more successful life, towards a more radiant life. So I'm really excited to just kind of dive into that today, and talk about the importance of that word, and how we can use that in taking our first steps in our journey. So to really look at that word, illuminate. At its core, it means to shed light upon, to bring clarity and understanding to that which was in darkness. So that's really the awakening of our consciousness, right? The moment we become aware of those inner struggles, those fears, those desires that are bad for us, or keep us in those negative behaviors, mindsets, and perspectives. So when we shed light on that, when we're really able to look at it, that's our first step towards healing. It allows us to look at those challenges, look at those struggles, and look at them with courage, because that is a really scary thing to do. I think that was a big part of staying in active addiction for so long for me, was that I could never really have the courage to look at myself and say, this is a problem. I tried to find other things that I would blame it on, and whether that was environment, whether that was people, whether that was circumstance, but I didn't really have the courage to just look at myself and say, I have a problem. And in order to grow, in order to get better, I have to start taking steps to solve that problem, to work on that problem every day. And so that's really what that does for you when you can illuminate those struggles in your life, when you can take a step back and say, this is really challenging for me. I have to figure out something else, because what I'm doing isn't working. And I know for me, when I kept trying to control that myself, and I kept trying to make my life better through my own will and my own way, I usually tended to make it worse. So that might be the moment where we're looking at a higher power, where we're looking at somebody that can help us through that a little bit, to lean on, to help guide us through, especially the early stages of whatever we're recovering from, whatever we're trying to grow past, to give us different tools, to give us different solutions, to try out as we go through that journey. So it's that light that's like, you look at, if you're in something dark and it's cracking, and you see that light start shining through. That's a moment where we can be introspective, where we can start becoming self-aware and start identifying where our problems are. So, obviously a big one for me was truly looking at that that addiction that I had, and drugs, and why I was using them, what I was trying to cover up, the pain I had, and I just didn't like dealing with that stuff. I didn't like feeling those emotions. I didn't like trying to um move past them. So I like to just forget them. And that's why I use so much, is I didn't like to be in my own mind. um and so really being honest, and having the courage to just be able to go and get through that first week, 2 weeks, month of kind of living with myself, and saying, okay, this is an issue, this is something I got to work on, whether it was my emotions or something, whether it was something that happened in the past that I hadn't healed from yet, whether it was something that was new, flooding in the moment, and trying to deal with it. Then that light is what helps me get through that. It's a really hard step. It's a really hard thing to do, to kind of take a step back and say, yeah, I'm struggling, and this is where I'm struggling. Whether that's your perspective, whether that's some mental health issues, whether that's lying to yourself, whether that's cycle that you're in of negative behavior, negative thoughts, and it's just that cycle that continues to go round and round and round and round. That's where we have to have courage and say, all right, now I'm recognizing what this is. It's hard to look at. It's not going to be easy to start growing past. But I have to start somewhere, and that's where we can start. And when you're in that step, I would say try everything that you can. Whether that's if you're in recovery from drugs, meetings, different support groups like that, really anything. I know they have meetings for a lot of different things, and a lot of different support groups out there. So that was a big one, that I think is important, because when we're in those challenges, we tend to think we're alone. We tend to think that we're special. We're the only ones going through that. We're the only ones that have that type of trauma or that story. And when we go to those support groups, we realize, like, oh, that person's saying the exact thing that I'm thinking, or the exact same thing that I went through. So that can be a big one. Meditation, practicing mindfulness can be another one, of just processing where you're at in the moment. Instead of worrying about yesterday or thinking about tomorrow, just take a few minutes and process where you're at in that moment. Journaling, writing your thoughts, counseling, talking through your thoughts, medication. Sometimes it's just that chemical imbalance that we really can't do much about. So we need that medication to have that growth. But when we do those things, we cultivate self-awareness, right? We start to be able to say, like, okay, this is where I'm at. This is how I continue to grow through it. We see those patterns of behavior that kept us trapped where we were, and then we can start preventing those, or we can start, recognizing them when they are coming, so that way we handle them in better ways than maybe what we did in the past. And it's not just a one-time thing. Sometimes we're having to do that multiple times throughout our life. Even if maybe we had that one big moment where that started our change, to Illuminate is a lifelong commitment to that self-discovery and that growth. And that can be hard. I know I went through periods where it was hard to think, like, oh yeah, this is something I have to do every single day if I want to continue to get better. And having letting that light come in every single day, is so important for continuous growth, to not get complacent, to not let those behaviors start creeping up slowly and getting, they go a little bit further each time until you find yourself back in that spot you started. So really embracing that and illuminating that power of self-awareness, we can reclaim that agency over our lives, and we can really keep that path moving forward, for as long as we're putting in that work. So, you know, remember it as, it's a continuous process of evolution, of unfolding those challenges and those thoughts, that practice of self-reflection and mindfulness. That's how we create resilience in our life. That's how we're able to, you know, start having more positive behaviors, and we're starting to understand what happiness is to us, what success is to us, and we can start working towards those two ideas so we live the life that we really truly want to be living. um, so I would, I would encourage you to embrace that. Embrace the power of illumination in your own journey of emotional resilience. Take the time to reflect on the areas of your life that may be in darkness. Let light in on those. It's tough because you'll see them for what they are when there's light on them, but at the same time, once you get past those initial stages, you'll feel a sense of relief, of happiness that you never thought was possible for you. So that true healing of illumination really begins with that self-awareness, to see the depths of our struggles, so that way we can start to navigate, our growth and our path going forward. And we'll kind of start talking about what that word navigate means next week as well. But keep working at it. If you are in that process just now, if you've been doing it for 10 years, if you've been doing it for, 2 hours, I strongly encourage you to keep going. Even when it's hard, keep letting that light in, so your life gets brighter and brighter and brighter as you go. So I sincerely thank you for listening in. I'm excited to talk about, why these three words: illuminate, navigate, and radiate, as this month goes on, and continue to grow this project. It's been an exciting thing. So if you're enjoying what you're seeing, go subscribe, check out our Instagram. We're still working on getting some different social media things going. If you like the videos, like them, and if you have any ideas, for different stories to share or different topics to discuss, comment on those and let us know what you want to hear, what you want to see going forward. But again, I appreciate your time. This has been Illuminate, Navigate, Radiate, Journey of Emotional Resilience. Have a great rest of your day.